Okay, we're gonna um, call a legal committee to order. May I have an executive session to discuss litigation strategy? Tina, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We just came out of concluded our legal meeting. Once again, we went into this executive session. We discussed litigation strategy with Andrea Williams versus the CNY RTA. No action was taken in executive session. Thank you. Are we ready over here? Okay, Melissa, you ready?
Yeah, if you're
Okay.
starting with John.
Yeah, we're gonna start with Jen. Jen?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Jen.
I hope everybody survived the weather yesterday.
It pushed me a little bit, so you know it was strong.
Yeah. There you go. And you want to shut it down. Okay, just quick summary. Transportation Center insurance coverage renews effective July 1st. And we're going to stay with the same carrier that we have, which is Travelers. And this is one of the policies where we have first dollar liability coverage. So last year our premium was $131,404, and this year it's $138,146. The rates really haven't gone up, but we've increased the values of the actual real estate due to the increased cost of construction, and that's primarily what drove the cost. We left the rental income and the parking receipts the same as we used last year, and they'll be adjusted in audit if necessary. So, this one is relatively simple, went very well. And anybody have any questions about what we're doing? Happy to answer.
Question.
What's Garage Keeper's name?
Legal liability for vehicles for which we are charging a parking fee.
Okay.
Traffic collision.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, so if there's no questions,
That's good.
okay, I'll ask for a motion to accept this. Tina, second. Luella, any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Thanks.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna move right into Melissa. We have a guest here today.
Yes, Jacob is here from our Bonadeo team, our auditing firm, and we get this screen to work. We are gonna present.
No problem, take it.
Who's gonna slide in? If not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be going through the presentation, the bound presentation in front of you. As Melissa said, I'm Jacob Skevel with the Bonadeo Group. I am signing the audit for you this year. Greg Evans has historically been your audit partner. The state public authorities law requires a partner rotation on your audit every 5 years. So I'm stepping in to meet that requirement. Their goal is to get a fresh set of eyes on the audit work. So talking about the March 31st, 2026 year end. I'll go through each of our reports throughout here. And we'll start over with the financial statements on page 3 of the presentation. Starting with required communications that we have to give to governance each year. The financial statements are currently in draft form. Following approval at this meeting, they will be issued in final form. We have in our auditor's report an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That is the highest level of assurance we can provide. So that's the opinion you're looking to see in there each year. Next up, we point out there are a number of estimates included in the financial statements. This is normal accounting practice. However, we call out significant ones as they do significantly affect the bottom line you see in those financial statements. The biggest impact being the OPEB liability, which is retiree health care.
Remember something here, the OPEB liability is something that we have to recognize, but it's not a funded liability.
Correct. So when you look at your financial statements, you see a large deficit in your equity at year end. This is really the driver of that. New York State doesn't allow you to fund that in advance as you go. And then other liabilities in there are also subject to actuarial valuations and things like that of your pensions and self-insurance estimates. Next up, in the financial statements themselves, we point out while there are estimates included, there is nothing in there that doesn't have normal accounting basis. All of this is standard accounting practice. Next up on the audit side of how the audit actually goes, we like to point out there's a lot of ways an audit can go wrong. In this instance, we aren't experiencing any of those. This runs very smoothly. We're provided everything we need. I'd like to point out this is a very quick turnaround of the authority's budget office. Requires a deadline 90 days after year end for the audit. And for an organization this size, that is a very quick reporting turnaround. So thanks to Melissa and the team to really make this a smooth process for us. On the balance sheet, you'll see cash is up from operations at about $15 million. You do have designations on there of your long-term investments and amounts set aside for your self-insurance and capital project reserves. Receivables on there fluctuate year to year. That's down from the prior year primarily due to grant receivable timing. Also on that balance sheet of yours, you have those large OPEB and pension liabilities like we talked about, causing that big deficit at year end. However, if you look at the current side of the balance sheet of your current assets, Those are at 66 million at year end compared to current liabilities of 16 million. So that's a more useful operational lens of the organization. So well able to continue meeting those current liabilities and no issues with liquidity. Operationally, your operating revenues did increase from the prior year, up 1.5 million. So that's primarily your actual passenger revenue. Those were 15.5 million for the 26 year end. So as far as actual delivering and operations, positive impact there. On the non-operating side, that's really your federal assistance, as well as capital contributions. Swings from last year, if you go back to 2025, there was a large spending of those capital contributions of federal aid that you'll see in comparison. On the expense side, total operating expenses were up about $6 million. The biggest chunk of that is depreciation expense. So not cash, actual expenditures from an operating sense of the organization, but depreciation of those capital assets. And then if you look at change in net position from last year to this year, it increased $37 million in 2026. 25 was 90 million. That really, the decrease in that is purely because of those capital contributions last year. Those are assets coming on the books. So that's the primary driver, that about $47 million. Any questions on financial statement number side before I mention our other reports? Not, we'll continue on. So this section is reporting required for your single audit, which is the audit of your federal funds. So we have two reports in there. The first is the report on internal controls over financial reporting. In there, we would report any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies or non-compliance noted, but happy to report no such findings. The second report is on the controls over compliance and your actual compliance with federal awards we tested. This year tested was that federal transit cluster, so that's your biggest federal program. And also on that side, no findings as it relates to controls or compliance. We also conduct a single audit over the state DOT funding the organization receives. So that's a very similar report to that federal single audit report on internal controls over compliance and compliance with those state programs. And also no findings on either side there.
It's pretty important, folks, when those things are, no findings, because it also sets the pace next year of how far you guys dig a little bit.
Yep, we're absolutely required. If we have a finding in a program one year, we have to test it again the following year. And then the last of our reports, this is something required under public authority law. The organization, being a government entity, is restricted in what it can invest in. So we look at the requirements there and find that there aren't any investments that are unallowed for those requirements. And then lastly, on the GASB standard side, we see these, seems like almost every year now, of stuff getting changed around in your statements for you. On the horizon for next year is GASB 103. This relates to the presentation of the financial statements themselves. Nothing in here that's going to actually change your numbers or bottom line. However, there's some adjusted disclosure requirements, and particularly in the grouping and presentation of your revenues and expenses, there's going to be some definition and classification changes. So we'll ensure that we work with the team next year and making sure the statements are meeting those standards. Any questions on the report side or anything in the drafts you all reviewed?
So one thing that we're sure of, and this is why we have a lot of respect for the people handling our numbers here, is the numbers we see every month are the real numbers.
So far, we're doing good, then, right?
Yeah, you guys are just confirming what we already know.
Yeah, we would absolutely communicate if we come in and have to propose a bunch of adjustments in order to get numbers accurate, but you can have the assurance that you're getting good information.
Any questions for that? Any questions? Okay, good job, everybody. A motion here to bring it to the full board. Tina, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Moving on. Summary financial information also.
Yeah, so following this presentation, it is a requirement under Public Authorities Law 2800 to report in our Paris software, so I'll need a motion to give me the approval to do that and submit the report.
I'm sorry, I was
It's
just
okay.
pushing him off. Go ahead.
So I just gave a summary that after the completion of that report, I take the financial data and put it into the Paris system, and I will just need a motion to allow me to do that.
Yeah, so motion to enter into the Paris system. Tina, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, keep it going here. Let me see here, annual investment report.
So in accordance with Public Authority Law 2925, the annual investment report summary of the authority's investments at interest-bearing accounts and other investments on fiscal years required to be reviewed by the board. On page 7 in the board packet is the annual investment summary report, as well as the CNY investment guidelines is also attached. There were no updates made to the policy. We don't typically do that, but it is required that you guys do approve the policy annually. So we'll just need a motion to approve the review of the annual investments and the investment guidelines.
Okay, so there's no money in SpaceX.
Yes.
Okay. Julius makes the motion. Second. Tina, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. First trillion. I know, first
Do you have money?
Guidelines for disposition of property.
Okay, this is also in accordance to the Public Authorities Law 2896, Section 1. The authority is required to review the adopted guidelines for the process of and procedure of disposition of property. It is required for me to certify this also in the Paris reporting. There has been no changes to the policy. This is an annual requirement for you guys to review and approve.
Okay, we've had questions before when we saw that lineup of buses out here and how we go through it. We've had some informal discussions, so it's once again just going over what we already have. So I need a motion. Luella, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Kayla. Procurement manual updates. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So our annual procurement report, another public authorities law requirement, that we create a report that covers all of our procurements from the prior fiscal year that were valued at $5,000 or greater. So this is one-time procurements, multi-year contracts, it covers everything. Shows vendor name, a description of what it was that we procured, method of procurement, expenditures, a whole host of information. That was a, yes, very large spreadsheet in your packet this month. Does anyone have any questions? on that lovely spreadsheet? If not, we just need a motion that you have reviewed and approved for us to import that into Paris for the state.
Any questions? Tom, moves it, second, well, any discussion, all in favor? Aye. Thank you for that report. Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. So we also had our procurement manual. Public authorities law requires that that is reviewed and approved by the board on an annual basis as well. That was electronic. It was a number of pages, I think 80 or 100 pages, so we weren't gonna print that for you. This year we are looking to add the director of subsidiary operations to our authorization thresholds. That will be at the $5,000 level, which is consistent with all of the other directors. Additionally, I just wanted to point out that there was no change to any of our internal policies. However, the FTA did at the end of last year increase their simplified acquisition threshold from $250,000 to $350,000. That only touches very specific procurements for us, so anything that is federally funded that can be procured by our request for quote process. And again, since none of our internal processes or policies have changed, anything over $100,000 would still come before you all for review and approval. Any questions?
Hopefully you'll make that at least 100 next year for us.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so a motion for the updates that we just discussed. Julia, second. Well, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Thank
good job. I know it's a lot of tedious work. We do appreciate it.
Right,
And
fantastic team.
yeah, we appreciate everybody's work on all the finances. The board always does.
Yeah.
Okay, moving into resolutions. Melissa, the first one is going to be our subsidy payments.
Yep.
And it's resolution 3A.
So, this resolution, is for subsidy payments. The authority operates a centralized financial structure, which the funds are received under the authority. The subsidy payments are made based on approved operational budget deficits for each subsidiary, excluding operating assistance and MRT. The purpose of this resolution is to reinforce the technical and legal separation between the authority and the subsidiaries. So this is just showing that on an annual basis, based on what you guys approved in our budget of 331, that this would be the deficit without operating assistance and MRT, and then we will transfer funds from the authority to the subsidiaries to balance the budget as much as we can.
Questions from Melissa? Standard operating procedures are what we do all the time. Okay, may I have a motion, please? Julia, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Going into resolution 3B. Chris is going to talk to us about the RTC boiler replacements. Chris, good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone.
Good ones.
This resolution is for the replacement of two boilers at the RTC. The current ones there are reached the end of their useful life. They're 29 years old. This contract will be paid for using grant funds with an 80-10-10 split between federal, state, and local shares. The invitation for bid was publicly let on March 2nd. 91 vendors were invited, 10 of which were minority and women-owned business enterprises. In total, 30 bid packages were downloaded. On April 7th, one bid was received from EMCOR Services Bethlehem. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the board authorize the issuance of a purchase order to EMCOR in the amount of $191,476 for the replacement of these two boilers at the RTC.
Pretty interesting. All those 90 out there. I think, just my personal reflection on that, is that there's a lot of work out there and there's not a lot of labor. And sometimes this may, I don't know about any data, this could impact people looking for certain work. I've seen some delays in this type of field in HVAC out there. But, you know, we got 29 years out of the other one. I mean, what do you think, Julius? 29 years on a boiler?
9 years.
Pretty damn good. Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean, so, you know.
Do we know that this is a competitive price?
We do. Our independent cost estimate that we have on this was a little less than 191,000, but that was made over a year ago in the summer of last year. So it makes sense that the price of the equipment would increase, labor as well on that.
Good question, Tina.
I'm always concerned about that when there's only one bid,
Yeah.
you know, is somebody jacking the price?
Right.
I think that was an excellent question. And with the independent estimator, they're usually fairly close.
Correct. If they're too far out, we wouldn't award a contract. We would have to rebid that.
How old is this firm that won the bid? How old is this firm that won the bid?
The firm, MCOR, I'm not sure how old they are. They are our current vendor for HVAC services though, so we do know that the quality of work they do for us is up to par.
Okay.
Where's the 10% match coming from? Is it the mortgage recording tax for that?
Must.
I see that trend over there. It's good.
Okay, motion. Tina, second. Tony, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Chris, good job. Want to say anything else?
Just a comment, Jacob, I'm so used to saying Greg, mentions that it's a quick turnaround, it's a lot of work, so I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the whole finance team, because it's not just me doing the work, as well as the HR team. They provide stuff for OPEB and the different gas fees, so it's really important. A lot of the people are in the audience that touch the audit,
Yeah, we
and
appreciate
it's important
It's
for you
good.
guys to
More
know that
appreciates all the
it's
work.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.
We know this is something that you just don't turn the light on and off. There's a lot of digging. And just on the OPED, I think it's education for the board. We have every so many years an independent person that verifies the OPED numbers. I'm trying, actuary. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the word, actuary, yeah. The actuary, the independent, this is what they do. And people probably should go to school to become an actuary. It's really not, I don't think anything that's really sexy, but there's a big need for it. Anyway,
I'm interested in knowing more about where the mortgage recording tax funding is being spent. Do you guys have a compiled list of all of the local match projects that particular funding has been spent on?
Like historically, I'm sure I can provide that to you.
I'm just interested in seeing like where the tax dollars are going when it comes to that particular funding and what projects, not for the lifetime, but maybe for the past 3 years.
Yeah, and certainly in our federal applications, that's how we substantiate it, right? It's like where they ask us in our federal applications, where is the local share coming from? And we call out MRT. In the event that we are not using MRT for a specific project, it is conserved or used for operations, right? So it's not solely used for capital, but that is a dedicated funding source that we can call out to say, this is not STOA, because you're not allowed to use STOA. This is a different set of money that we're substantiating our local share.
That's good. I noticed you guys are using it for the match on the buses as well as this, so it
Yeah.
just sparked my interest of, what else is it being used for?
Yeah.
So thank you.
yeah, good question. Thank you. There you go. Okay, let's take about 5 minutes and we'll get into the regular meeting. Thank you. All right, welcome to the meeting today on June 19th. Why don't you start with a pledge of allegiance? Tina, you can lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everybody here today. Today's a very, I think, significant day in our country, Juneteenth, and I'm just going to say a couple words that I think it's appropriate that we're all here, and then I'm going to also ask my vice chairman to say a few words. Juneteenth is also known as America's second Independence Day. The holiday commemorates the day when Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas in 1865 with 2,000 Union troops to proclaim that more than 250,000 enslaved black people in the state were free. And you know what was interesting about this was 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. And it's interesting how there was that delay there. You know what I mean? There was a delay. And I just want to maybe turn it over to Tony, because also being in education and everything, and I know he might have a couple kind words to say about this.
Well, I also had a unique experience where there's a jury rescue monument downtown that in my first 2 or 3 years of education, we had an alternative program that we took like 200 kids down to work on, which when I learned much more about Syracuse's importance to the Freedom Trail. Syracuse played a huge role in the Freedom Trail, and it's fascinating as far as the history of Syracuse and helping free slaves. And I think people would really serve themselves well to get involved and do the history about Syracuse and what role we played.
Yeah.
So I think locally, you'll see a lot of celebrations coming up. I'm just not sure people understand the deeper meaning of what goes behind the role that we played as a community.
And I think it's up to us to keep that meaning alive and educated, and as we keep going forward.
Yeah, agreed.
Joyce?
And I remember when I first came to Syracuse, I'm originally from the South, and I was coming up here in the 60s and stuff like that. And all of the opportunities that I didn't have down in the South at the time, coming up here. When I came to Syracuse, I was a young man at that time, you know, and I had to go through my college education, stuff like that, and I was one of the first north to leave Syracuse to go to the Yale program. I went to Buckler University and all that stuff, carrying on my education. And what I'm trying to do at my age of 81 years old, try to teach the young people about the opportunities that we have, but you can't sit back and do nothing. You got to take advantage of these situations, but not when they pass by. And I always say this statement, and I shut up. I always say this statement.
I love listening to
I always say this statement when I was working with Peace and Cooperation in Kennedy Square, Project Connection, that I always say our youth are not just the future to come. Our youth are the future now. What we do for them now will determine who and what they will be tomorrow. And we have to pass down what God has given to us to those young people.
You know, sometimes I think, Julius, when you're maybe brought up in what time frame, sometimes if you were not directly impacted by it, like you were, sometimes people might not have that appreciation of how we got there.
I remember when we did the march, Million Man March in Washington, I was able to go there. When Martin Luther King came on the scene, I was about 18 years old, something like that. I wanted to do the march, but at the time my grandmother was so poor, I couldn't do the march. And I had to watch it and stuff like that. So I kind of reflect my stick back and show that things an opportunity I miss. And that's why I'm always trying to pass down to the young folks about what we have now. I remember the back one too. A lot of people don't remember that.
Yeah.
Now we
Who
got
else?
computer chips.
Oh, but I came from the Bahamas, and I came to go to SU. And, but I wanted to know more about the city because things seem to be so different. And I don't know if anyone have a copy, but I got a copy, and it's a very old of this city of Syracuse. And like you said, it is so much that I learned in there. There's so much in there that I don't think a lot of individuals know what has gone on in Syracuse before the time. So it's not a comic book, but it is a
It's
book.
valuable differently.
Yes, a treasure. And I don't know, because I don't know if you can find it now. That's how old it is.
Yeah.
Wow, great. Heather?
I think it's a good time to reflect and it's bringing everyone together.
Beyond you, we speak of the Jerry Rescue statue. It is not just meaningful to people of color. It is very meaningful to people with disabilities. When we do our ADA walk, we march to the Jerry Rescue statue because in our hearts, we relate to the struggle of people who were enslaved and that civil rights movement. And Syracuse has always kind of had a heart for civil rights. So we live in a good place. Despite the garbage we see now, this place has a good heart.
Oh, that's excellent, and I thought we'd take a few minutes just to discuss it because I don't know how many times we're actually gonna be together on the 19th.
Right.
What was interesting, people may or may not know, but Tina's point is well taken because it was mostly non-people of color that were helping the slaves move through safely.
And when you look at the civil rights movement for people with disabilities, it was Black Panthers who were helping us at sit-ins in California when nobody left until 504 got passed. And people were there for 10 days. And it was other civil rights groups that supported people with disabilities in blocking the stairs of the White House for the ADA and all of those insane things that we did to get our personhood recognized. So I stand in solidarity with this day as a civil rights advocate.
Sure.
Can I say this? I remember when the march and stuff first started, when I first came to Syracuse, I came here under the administration of Mayor Williams to Alexander and all that kind of stuff, and how they gave me an opportunity to be able to work with many different programs in the city of Syracuse, and I work under the Mayor Stephanie Mario's administration. And now that we are Sharon Owens, who I had the opportunity to see her move up to be now the mayor of the city of Syracuse. And I remember when she was trying to, thinking about going for mayor, she and I went to meet all the time with the community development. She was deciding on whether she's going to go for that. I said, lady, you better go on. I better go on, because right now, I know I'm working on Stephanie Mario, and she was the first woman to become the mayor. Sharon Owens become the first woman plus the second woman and the first black woman to take that position.
Yeah, I was actually, I thought about that. I got off a plane on Monday, and as you're leaving through the wing of American, the doors are there, and you see the picture of the mayor always, who was. And it kind of hit me. To be honest with you, it kind of hit me because I've never seen that before. So I actually had a tower. I might call her that, tower that. And I just thought it was kind of interesting. It did have an impact. And it was, we got in about 1:30 in the morning, and let me tell you, I still, wow, good for Syracuse. Yeah. Good. Oh, great conversation. Chris?
No, I'll be honest with you. I appreciate the comments of you guys at the board. I think for some of us sitting here, there's some of these comments and things in the Jerry Rescue of not understanding the historical meaning at Syracuse. You hear bits and pieces of it. But I think really being part of what we do in the city and the impact we have of understanding the historical value of that is important. So I appreciate sharing that for us to continue to educate ourselves. Certainly, we know the demographics that we provide our service to are certainly impacted by this, and it's only right for us to make sure that we're educating ourselves on this day, importantly, but also the importance of Syracuse and what we've done for this day. So I appreciate that, and some of the vulnerabilities and those personal stories, I think, open our eyes to some of the things we don't know. Certainly to whether being educated on it or being aware of it. So I just want to say thank you for that, and certainly look forward to more and opportunities to learn more from all of you and share with the staff of things that we can be doing better to further understand where we come from and where we're going.
Jackie?
No, I kind of agree on Chris's part. I mean, history is really important to us. We really need to convey what our history and where we come from, and I think it's very important. I think it's important for the kids nowadays to know about Syracuse and the history of Syracuse, and I don't think that it's stressed enough, maybe not to say anything, Tony, but in the school districts. I think that we need to get back to those roots and really, teach the children of what our history is and where we come from. So.
Melissa is a young mom in the community a lot.
Yeah, I think teaching our youth equality is important. I think maybe some of you guys know, my mom is mixed, so growing up in a really rural community, there's challenges there. And so I think it is so important to teach our youth we're all equal.
Good. Excellent. Great. I'm an attorney, just curious.
I think it's great that we're having this discussion. My wife, who's an Episcopal priest, said that she thinks we can use this period from Juneteenth to the 4th of July as kind of a secular American Lent. It's kind of a natural time to reflect and learn about history, but also about what all the work that's still to be done. So yeah, I think this is a great discussion to have.
Good. No, this is great. It's a good day, and we're blessed. We're blessed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that aren't right, but overall, I think we're blessed.
It's been here.
Yes. And I know Lowell always prays a lot for us, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay, we do have a quorum present. Our next meeting date, we're going to change that from the 21st, from the 24th to July 31st. Chris will mention that in his report, one of the reasons why we're changing that. Next month, we have a pension committee, which is, I always say, pension is very important because, once you get about $100 million that you're kind of overseeing, that is people's futures, to me, it's important. It's very important. Audit and Finance Board meeting, motion to approve the regular minutes of May 29th. Julia, second. Luella, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Chris, our executive officer report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. And again, thank you for the conversation being here. As you see, a lot of our staff are celebrating the holiday, but we're glad to have you guys here. And I apologize, we had a power issue last night, and they're currently working on the AC, so you'll notice it's getting a little warm in here, which could be a factor where some people aren't in it, but we'll try to be quick and work through it. The last month, busy with a lot of conversations and meetings as we continue to navigate service changes and different things happening in Central New York. I met with the statewide Senior Action Council, the representatives of the Central New York Council back on June 4th. It was a great conversation, really revolving around the system redesign. They had a lot of good kind of scripted questions for me that I helped answer for them as far as the system redesign, service changes, how does eliminating routes, bringing in on demand, what does this mean for Call of Us, and what's the difference between the two? So it was a very good conversation with the team, some familiar faces, Beata and Phil, and Agnes was there with Charles. So continuing just education and conversation. I have another follow-up meeting that I'm working on scheduling with Agnes to continue that conversation just on a one-on-one level. Kind of continuing with what Nick was saying with the movement of the meeting. So last month, you guys approved awarding a contract for our lobbyist to Hill East. And I will tell you, on June 8th, we had the initial meeting with them to kick off our contract. And in 10 days, we've accomplished a lot already of back and forth internal discussions, getting information to them, certainly with the reauthorization bill on the federal level as being a high priority. That expires at the end of September. We are in the midst of doing work on that. Certainly with the state budget just passing, and if we know the cycle of the state budget, our goal is to get back in front of our state representatives by the fall. I was on a call yesterday with the NIPTA folks, and really to get anything in front of the executive budget, or in the executive's budget, has to be done by Labor Day. So from a state side, we're getting active and working on some reports from the state association, but also with our lobbyists. And I don't necessarily want to speak specifically for Melissa and Brent, but I think it's exciting. It's a little bit of a breath of fresh air to see that they're coming in, they're hitting the ground running to the point the week of the 20th, where the 24th is. They've already are working on scheduling meetings down in Washington, D.C. that I have to be at. And Nick is going to join me on those meetings to meet with the FTA, to meet with our local delegation again. In the month of August, the federal Congress is on break for the month of August. So with the reauthorization having to be passed potentially by the end of September, our real window is either hit them in July or try to scramble in August, which could potentially, or in September, which could potentially be too late. So we're going to be down in Washington, D.C. the week of the 20th to schedule those meetings and actually set up some meetings with folks that we have not met with, which was one of the main points of bringing the lobbyist in, to actually have a meeting with the FTA and the folks in the FTA outside of our regional director who was here a couple months ago, but actually with the folks in D.C. to talk with them. So we're excited about it. We're working diligently on our end to get our information together to them to help support what we feel are concerns. They're also sharing some things that we may not be aware of that could be concerns for us. So we're very excited about that. But a lot of things happening in 10 days and a lot more to come. So we're excited for that. On June 9th, I met with Brad and Jackie, and I met with Senator Chris Ryan to just follow up with the state budget. Say thank you. We appreciate his support. I've done it with several of the electeds that I've talked to as sidebar conversations with Assemblymember Sturpey and Assemblymember Magnarelli as well. And then just wanted to talk about what do we have in the future? What do we have coming up that he can be part of? How is the system redesign going? He was part of that discussion we've had with him in the Fayetteville-Manlius area, I believe is in his district. So he had some concerns there and wanted to know how our meeting with the mayors of Fayetteville and Manlius went, which actually went very well. I updated on that a couple months ago. So he was excited to see that, and we appreciate his support and further discussion. Later that day, on the 9th, I attended the Governor Hochul event. She was in town for the Syracuse Developmental Center, tear down and rebuild. That area is right next door to Rosemont Gifford Zoo. That they're building 261 apartments, low and moderate income apartments. That's the first of two phases where these buildings will be open in 2027. So it was great to be there and see some folks from around town and be part of that. Later that evening, I attended the YMCA's annual meeting, the Central New York YMCA's annual meeting, where we were recognized. So Casey Brown and I were there at the most, where we were recognized as their 2025 Community Partnership or Community Partnership Award, which is the award here next to the coffee on the counter. And that's in recognition with our partnership with the YMCA, M&T Bank, Lamar Transit Advertising for our Roller Express that we pushed out during the holiday season that brought individuals throughout the community to Lights on the Lake that may not have any other means of getting there. So we had low-income families, some organizations, a couple senior centers, we did veterans. So a very well-received, something we've been doing for a couple of years, but now the Roller Express started last year. So they recognized us for that partnership. Already hitting the ground for this year's program for the Roller Express to return this holiday season. So we're excited about that. And so are they. Some of our community involvement on June 2nd, myself, several staff members, Jackie, and a couple folks and their families were down in Cortland for the Dairy Day Parade. And the dairy industry is one of the main industries revolving and supporting Cortland County and their history. But I will tell you that parade rivals a lot of parades here in Syracuse.
Yes.
It is a large parade. A lot of kids, a lot of interactions, a lot of floats in the parade. It was actually pretty fun to be in. For us, for our first time being down there, we brought the 250 bus, the America 250 bus down there. But it was fun. It was a Tuesday at 6 o'clock, which kind of throws some schedules off, but I'm glad to see that folks came out and walked in the parade with Cortland and represented Centro to the community. But it was fun. Jack, you were there. I think you agree to that. I've never seen a parade like that. And the kids that were out there handing out candy, and they were handing out ice cream sandwiches, milk, and you name it, they had it.
Wow.
So it was good. If anybody wants to attend next year, let us know. It was a good time.
I
Also,
want to mention something on Cortland, actually. You mentioned Cortland. I'm a really boring person at home when I watch TV or anything, so nobody's with me, but it was late in the wee hours of the morning. I was watching a rerun of the Senate, New York State Senate. And the minute I woke up, I put it on, it was CNY RTA, our Transportation Authority. And the senator was moving the resolution for the additional board member down there. And that was done, that was officially done. I think you would have reported anyway, but I just saw that about 1 or 2 in the morning when I was playing, so.
yeah, so Assemblyman Magnarelli moved it through the Assembly, Senator Webb moved it through the Senate. So the legislation did pass to add the 13th board seat to the authority, which now starts the process that you guys all went through for narrowing down the candidates, selecting the person, getting it confirmed by the governor, or getting it appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. I do know the county has submitted their resolution to put forth the 2 names. Certainly we know they're on break right now, summer break, so maybe in the fall we'll see some activity and hopefully get an award to, or somebody to be appointed to that seat. So that legislation has been moved forward. And I think it was almost either the last day of session or the day before the last day of session. I know with the budget it's taking some time. Continuing on some other community things, last week, June 13th, several staff and family members participated in the Pride Parade. I believe this was their 30th year of the parade in Syracuse, very well attended as well. I was not able to make it this year, but I know several staff were there to represent Centro with the bus, and we provide a shuttle for the event. Also on the 13th, and Julius, I'm going to say this before you get to it, we had some staff over at the Christ Missionary Baptist Church for their community event. That is part of a number of events, but we had some staff down there talking about Centro and Call of Us. So Josh is not here, but I know he was our representative for that day specifically because he wanted Call of Us information to be presented. So we did participate in that.
Are we still doing job fairs?
Yes.
And I want to add to your report too, Chris. Thank you for having Central come down to that event. It was well attended because of all the activities that was going on. We still had Central there, and a lot of questions and stuff was asked about the Call of Us and stuff like that. And I noticed that it is increasing now where people are getting familiar with how the system works and everything. But like people who are my age, they don't really, even though it is online for it to happen, but they don't really feel comfortable in doing it online.
Sure.
Essentially.
And then just wrapping it up, we are participating in the Juneteenth parade tomorrow. I think from what I'm hearing, operations isn't here. We have the largest turnout we've had for the Juneteenth parade since we've been doing it now the last 4 years. We're certainly excited to be part of that parade and continue to see the involvement grow in all of our parades. But this one is definitely notably that we are entering 2 buses into the parade. They transport the number of folks that are meeting here to the start of the parade over by the Dunbar Center. So we will be there as well with both buses. And again, continuing to be part of that is something we're proud of. Any other questions for me?
I just want to throw it out there that we'll have 2 call buses at the ADA event. And we're hoping that maybe some Central people will come and be in solidarity with us as through NIPTA. I've been working, Bren is on the committee, and when I got my promotion, I got elevated into this transportation conglomerate meeting, and we're actually working on some workshops for NIPTA that we can foster better relationships with paratransit riders and their authorities. And they called me because they think I have the best relationship. And I said, yes, I do. I have the best authority.
We appreciate that and being part of it, and certainly we will be. Agnes has reached out to me as well to be part of the raising the flag and the ceremony at City Hall, so we'll definitely have staff there.
So Chris, I want to say this, unofficially, I was one of the representatives for Central at the, what we call the lead-free housing, which was done yesterday on South Ave, on South Ave over here, which we had all of the mayors and representatives, senators, and all those people was there to open this new house, which you probably know about.
I did, I heard about it last night on the news, yep.
So it was well attended and stuff like that. We had all the people in New York City. I don't know when you see, I got a little thing here. You might want to see the attendance from yesterday. I'll pass it around. You can look at it. You don't know about. Probably got on the computer system. You know all about that.
Any other questions for me? Go ahead.
I got an email from the union that they're having a golf tournament, a fundraiser.
I don't,
So,
that's,
yeah, just thought I'd
that's,
share that,
oh,
that
okay.
the union for
Yeah.
the bus drivers is having a golf tournament fundraiser.
okay, no, I
Just
didn't know
send that
that.
out
I
to-
think this weekend they have something this weekend. I don't know what it is exactly. Climbing? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
They have like a rec club, an ATU rec club that they do different events and gatherings with the membership, but I'm not sure when that one is. No questions for me. I'll turn it over to Jackie.
Good morning, everyone. This month, we met with the union to discuss the mentorship program at Central with the operators. The mentorship program is a one-year pilot initiative jointly launched by Central and the ATU. It began in July, on July 7th, 2025, and is currently overseen by the directors, who is Frank Saya and myself, along with the coordinators Kayla Garcia and Jimmy Hester. Actually, the coordinators are doing most of the heavy lifting. They manage the day-to-day operations of the program, including pairing mentors with mentees, and they conduct regular meetings with both the mentors and the mentees throughout the year. And during our discussion, we reviewed the benefits of the program and identified opportunities for improvement. One thing I do want to just share with the board members, because I think it's very important, is hopefully we can, wait a minute.
Should just go.
Very good. Let me tap this. Okay. So these are our mentors. Oh, no. What happened?
That's
Done
what
that.
it did to me.
Okay. So these are our mentors. If you see on the right, that was when,
There you go.
okay, Melissa's gonna hold the cord, so hopefully it won't keep flashing. On the right, that was the beginning of the program when we actually had some, the ATU International come in to talk to the mentors and what it means to be a mentor. And on the left are our mentors. If you see, they're recognizably noticeable with the gray shirts. They decided that they wanted to stand out a little bit. So when they're in the driver's room, you don't have to necessarily go to your mentor to ask a question. You can go to any mentor and ask questions. The next thing I think that is important is the statistics. So when we started in July, we had 15 mentors. We have 14 now because one left the company. However, out of the 49 trainees who became mentees, 44 still remain active as bus operators. So we see that this is really a success. In 2023, out of the 61 trainees, we had 35 terminate or resign, which was a 57% turnover rate. In 2024, we had 63. and we had 44% turnover rate. This year, with this pilot program, we have 90. We started with 63. Obviously, we have 30% turnover rate. So as you see, the turnover rate is decreasing, showing that this program is really starting to work here at Centro. The only other thing is, since we started it, no requests for pairing have changed. So everybody likes their mentors. The only thing that has been requested is maybe having more female mentors, because female mentees feel a little bit more comfortable with female mentors. And the highest mentor to mentee ratio right now is 4-1. However, most are around 2. So they have 2 mentees per mentor. And the way that it works is week 1, we have a mentorship introduction. Week 6 in the training class, we hand out a mentorship questionnaire. And then week 10, we do the mentorship pairing handouts. And then in week 11 and 12, the mentees are paired with the mentors at least 2 weeks before turning in. However, though, they go through the system where when we're training, we have them meet the mentors throughout the training, because they're usually paired with them on the buses when they're doing ride-alongs. So that was really all I had to say about the mentorship program. Just getting back to it, we are going to continue to do our mentorship program. What we've decided is that it will continue as a pilot program till the end of this year, and then starting January 1, 2027, it'll be adopted by both the union and the company.
So that's what, I ride a bus all the time, so sometimes I see 2 people, so that's what that is, the mentor on the bus.
Yes.
And that's so important too, because all of they help to quiet down some of the stuff that are going on, the passenger in the bus. Because I noticed that we had one thing on the bus where there was a question about whether you should have the, maybe you're going to be a little ahead, but where we're going with these scooters and stuff like that. And I think you came in on the bus and they indicate that you cannot put those scooters on the bus, stuff like that. But that's, I might be a little ahead on that. But anyway, the mentor on that helped the driver a lot, because the driver got to concentrate on, does that make sense?
And operating the route and everything. Yeah, there's a lot, I mean, that goes into the training of our trainees when they're out there. So we definitely pair them with a more experienced driver to help them out. Any other questions?
Is this just driver, or are we using it in the mechanics?
So we are gonna expand the program into the mechanics area. We're looking at that right now. Obviously, there's a little bit more that goes into the mechanics program, because we wanna establish an apprenticeship program. So we have to have a number of hours in classroom training along with hands-on training. So you will be seeing that within the next year or so when we start to adopt that program. Any other questions?
Brent?
I'll start with ridership for the month of May. It was good. It was pretty flat across all counties, but for city ridership, Onondaga County was flat, Cayuga County was flat, Oswego County up almost 10%. We're gonna say system redesign working. Oneida County pretty flat, and Rome was up a little bit. Rome was up about 3.5%, and Utica was down a little bit, so it evened them out. And Cortland County was pretty flat. So good for ridership, all good things. Then we'll move on to, I know Chris has been talking about all of the outreach that he does and that we do through his office just wanted to touch base with you about some of the additional outreach and community partnerships and that the service development team, my team, has in our community. We participate in committees and sessions and with municipalities and governments and all of the people, right? So I started to make a quick list, but to give you an overview, we work on grants. We're working on grants with the city of Syracuse right now, with Oneida County, with Hawks. So we sit on those planning committees, and then when the grant is granted, we sit on the execution committees to study things and move things forward. We're working with SMTC right now on some mapping projects, so that's pretty cool here in Syracuse. We started participating in the Onondaga County Housing and Transportation Committee. That is a new committee that is fast tracking some tasks to accomplish in the next year. So excited to sit on those meetings every couple of weeks. We also have participated in the comprehensive plans for many municipalities. So we just finished Portland County's comprehensive plan, Oswego County's comprehensive plan, and we're currently sitting on the comprehensive plan committee for the city of Syracuse. So we are thankful to be invited to the table for all of these conversations. We are part of the community. That proves to us that they find us important and that they want to hear the perspective from Centro's point of view. In addition, I think I may have told you this before, but a lot of the counties send over planning and zoning action review for us to do as well. So that's where we're thinking about if a new housing development is going up and it is going up 5 miles from a bus route, that's where I wave the flag and say, hey, did you think about a bus route? Because you haven't come and talked to us yet. You should come talk to us, right? Talk to us before you build, not after you build. So all of those planning and zoning actions that go to the county for review also come to us for review so that we can weigh in when appropriate. So, some things, somebody's moving a driveway, somebody's remodeling their bathroom, that doesn't impact us at all. But some things, there are several impacts every month that I send back feedback to say, think about this from a transit perspective. And so again, really thankful to just have been invited to the table from those municipalities. So just wanted to highlight that for you. As you know, we're doing all of these other projects in-house, but we are also super community involved, and that's, under Chris's direction, really the focus that we've been going with. I'm excited about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Brian. Bruce?
Morning, everyone. I'll be quick. I think I'm the last person here, right? Is he done yet?
Well, you know what's helping you, Bruce?
Oh, we did, yeah.
It's the room getting warm, so
Yeah,
you're in a good place. You got it.
Okay, real quick. So this week we received a server rack for the new Clever equipment. It's sitting down in our server room right now. We just need to schedule time with HP, the vendor that makes the actual equipment, to come on site and install everything. In line with that, we're also in the finishing stages for the statement of work for Clever to not come on site, but to do their work remotely to configure that stuff. And once that's done, at some point you'll see a resolution coming your way for that. Our Microsoft licensing, which the board signed a resolution for last month, that took effect this month, beginning of this month. We're in the early stages of transitioning all the user accounts. Once that's in place, it's going to give us a lot more control over how, when, and where people can access our cloud environment. And this is a significant improvement over our previous capabilities. It's going to address a lot of our security concerns. And lastly, I just want to give a shout out to Matt, not to put him on the spot or anything. He's a guy back there, been running the boardroom meetings and everything. He's been with us a little over 7 months now. I was just asking him earlier how long. I knew it was roughly 7-ish months. He started out as a desktop support person, And our system administrator position had been vacant for, almost a year. We've been looking really hard to find a replacement, but we recently promoted Matt into that position because he's shown the capabilities and the aptitude and the initiative to take that on. And since he's been in there, he's been doing a lot of great things. So I just want to, give him a shout out for that. And with that, yes, Julius.
Your department, down at the hub, where you had to schedule all the buses down, your department, where the schedule of people can see the bus.
The electronic boards.
Electronic board, that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to think. Your department, all of that.
We work with,
Because I know it's been down for some.
Yeah, we have a project in the hopper to replace all of that equipment. So that's in the works right now. I know the team, we awarded it a couple months ago, the team's working on.
Yeah, because a lot of time when I go through, I ask the bus would try to what's going on.
Yep.
They don't seem to know what's going on, so.
Yeah, the inside board's working, the outside boards, but they're working on getting that
Let them know
replaced.
people are there, let them know when people come and ask about the board.
Yep.
About what's going on. Keep them encouraged, about what's going on with that.
Yeah.
That'd be helpful to them.
Yeah, we just talked about that this week, so making progress on it.
any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce. That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Speak through this stuff. Okay, Finance Committee was out discussing finance, and we'll quickly do this. Motion was made to bring it to the full board to approve our property liability insurance. Shannon Mayloff made a presentation with a minimal amount change from year to year. May I have a motion? Tina, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor, aye. We had the draft financial statements and supplement reports. What was his first name again?
Jacob.
I'm gonna call him.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and I thought the report was laid out where we all could understand it. So I think we all appreciate that. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Tina, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Summary financial information, public authorities law, annual report. Melissa, once again, takes the lead with that. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Luella, second. Tony, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Once again, motion to approve our annual investment report and our investment guidelines. Melissa, as we know, we're very limited in what we can do. It's secure. Motion made to bring it to the full board. May I have a motion, please? Tina, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Also, our guidelines for disposition of property, get rid of it. Motion made to bring it to the full board. I have a motion, please. Julia, second. Luella, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Our annual procurement report, it's great reading, maybe tonight. And I'm talking not the one that was in your folder, I'm talking about the 80 pages, but the one that was in their folder. A motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. I have a motion, please. Heather, Luella, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And of course, our procurement manual updates. May I have a motion, please? Tina, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Two resolutions were brought forward. One was the allocation of our subsidiary payments. Motion made to bring it to the full board. May I have a motion, please? Luella, second. Tina, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And Chris put together our boiler replacement. That was resolution 3B to award contract to MCOR Services Bethlehem in the amount of $191,000 odd. Motion made to bring it to the full board. May I have a motion, please? Well, a second. Tina, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Our legal committee met today, an executive session, and no action was taken. And that was in regards to Andrea Williams versus CNY RTA. No action was taken. Old business, Joyce.
Well, the old business, basically, that report I kept you about the housing and stuff like that. and all of the people that attended yesterday, and I was unofficially representative of Central at that time, to let us know that we can stay involved with that. So if anybody want to see that, unless you go online and look at it, you get in the background.
Anybody else? New business, old business,
Well, no new business.
new business, okay. I feel like an auctioneer sometimes.
Yeah, I just, this is Oswego County's 5th year, really promoting central routes specifically for our farmers markets. So we actually go around to local senior centers and low-income housing facilities, and we purchase a bunch of central bus passes in bulk. And we create custom farmers market schedules so that they can just know exactly when they're coming from their senior facility to the market and back. So we're excited to do that again and hand out the bus passes. And then we just appreciate the extra brochures that you guys ordered for us. We're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Oswego garage. It's a walking distance, so people have been really hitting up their garage and then coming to us after to check, and I'm like, we are out, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, as soon as we get the new schedules, I don't think they've been delivered yet, but we'll make sure we get them up with the route changes and modifications. We have to print new ones, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is, Chris. I know Central changed their bus route on West Kennedy, 300 block West Kennedy. A lot of people keep asking about whether they're gonna go back to their schedule and keep it as it is now. And I tell them, if they wanna know about it, they just send the website you, about what that schedule is gonna be for us. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
So, when I talk to people, I indicate that they were changed at that time because of all the work that was going on that 300 block of West Kennedy.
Yeah, we'll make sure Brian and the team are aware of it as we look at what's going on and certainly with the system redesign. But I think somebody brought that to us already once, so it's on our list. So.
Anybody else? Let's have a great day today, let's have a great weekend, and I thank everybody for all your work on behalf of the board. We're adjourned, thank you.
Thank you.